Bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player. This is ByuN. He is taking on the blue Zerg in the top left-hand side, DRG here in the ASUS ROG Qualifier. Win a bracket round of 8. Only 2 players qualify from the Korean server Qualifier. So only 2 players qualify from here. And that obviously means that we've got quite a distance to go in the lower bracket as well. There's still 6 best of 3s or so to be played, and yeah, it's going to be a bit of a day still, basically. So, still going to be a bit of a day. We still got some action to come. And like I say, this ByuN DRG match is one step forward. It means that you've also here in the winner bracket, you've got to win this. You've got to win 2 more matches after this to qualify. So, everything is best of 3. We don't have best of 5 qualifying matches either, which honestly, I'm not against. I kind of like it, actually, for how long these qualifiers are. The double elimination definitely stretches them out and makes them take a fair amount of time, so I'm okay with this as we get ourselves underway. And we do start off in this game number 1 with Racks at home, Hatch, Gas, and Pool from the Zerg. ByuN played 1 TVZ already today, and it was a very cheesy affair with a Roach Rush. There was a Nidus attempt. It was just very aggressive over and over. So we'll see what comes in from DRG, expecting it to be a little bit more macro-focused. So I casted these guys the other day in the ESL Open Cup, and they played a very fun back-and-forth matchup. A couple of longer games, DRG trying to get up to lurkers a couple of times, making some good use of higher Mutalisk counts as well. Definitely expecting more of the same. DRG typically has been a pretty solid Zerg when it comes to that kind of stuff, as these two have had 3 matches against each other this month, and they are 3 of the 4 times they've ever played each other officially. DRG beat ByuN back in 2012 in IPL. But since then, they've only ever played in 2020, and in November of 2020 at that. So DRG 2-1 the first time, and then ByuN 2-1 the second and third time around. So ByuN has got the winning record, but it's been close every time. It's never been a walk in the park. It's never been that clean 2-0, so the stats all say we've got a good series on our hands. Let's see if the games deliver. Kling's taking some damage. Creep Tumor out the front. We do have the Overlord of DRG making its way down to the bottom right-hand side. It's a couple of Hellions already rallying up as well. Kling's jumping in on top of these rocks, and we see the drone coming down to the natural. As the Reaper just sitting out the front here as well. Third hatchery still moving along quite nicely for the moment. And yeah, it's a 2-gas opening from ByuN. It's not going to see a 3CC setup. ByuN has not been afraid of, I was going to say, Hellbats. The Fusion Core, not something I was expecting from ByuN in the slightest. This is absolutely a switch up from my expectations. So yeah, whatever I was going to say would have been wrong, because I would never even suggested ByuN would go Fusion Core for a Battle Cruiser opening. I'd be very surprised if ByuN plays BC into mech, because he is just such a bio player in general. Let's see what he wants to do. I mean, BC into bio can absolutely work, is a thing. Let's see what he sets up for here. Now, there are 2 Overlords that are looking to pick up this information. Number 1 over here, number 2 down here, and this one's already moving forward and has a pretty good shot at getting the scout off, right? I mean, a couple of Marines on the top side of the base at the moment, and it's going to see this Fusion Core in a moment or 2. I'll see a couple of Marines show up, and they are... There we go. Overlord's going to see the Fusion Core now, and we are going to see those Marines getting the cleanup. And that will go down. So a couple of Overlords get... a couple of Marines get the Overlord killed, but the scout was already there. Let's see, a couple of Creep Tumors taking some hits here. Hellion goes down already. So move back around into the center. Battlecruiser going to pop up in a few moments, and again, the Reapers and Hellions just going to come in and Did he just attack his own Reaper to kill that creep tumor? I think he did, right? That was smooth. What? that was really smooth. Wow. I didn't know if it was spreading or something. I don't know what I just saw. I'm not even convinced what I just saw. Like, his Hellions barely stopped and killed a creep tumor. Okay, right. Third CC is going to finish up as the battlecruiser arrives across the map, so it's actually going to get close to killing a queen initially. Then the transfusions come in. I mean, obviously DRG saw this. You're expecting him to be pretty prepared to deal with it, and well, I mean, that's the case. BC gets absolutely 0 kills. Maybe you could have argued the Hellions could have gotten in here, but then, you know, Ling's off to the left. They're going to arrive pretty quickly too. Yeah. Alright, well, we're just going to be seeing the Lings moving across the map. The creep spread from DRG goes down at the front as well. And a fourth hatchery, sorry, that's not a command center. Fourth hatchery comes in to join the fray as well. BC coming around and maybe actually going to get a queen kill now. So the continuation of effort from this battlecruiser is going to find itself a kill. Hey, it's going to die though. Yo, it's dead. He had a teleport just then. He kind of mistimed it. The idea should be that you kind of go in with that BC so that if it gets into trouble, it teleports out at the right time. Yeah, this isn't a good opening at all from ByuN. I mean, now he just lost the Hellions as well, so now he loses that kind of anti-run by defense. That's obviously problematic too, and these Marines, they do have stim. I'm not sure if the Lings really want to try and fight this, and DRG makes a mistake there, makes a misjudgment. But losing the BC, what that does is it takes away further harassment potential in the future, and let's be honest, the BC initially didn't do great, but the good thing about a BC is it doesn't have to do amazingly right away. It can do kind of mediocre, and then it keeps coming back, so it still finds value. Letting it die is now it's removed from the game. The mutas don't have to worry about it. Nothing has to worry about it. Mutas are out, by the way, already as this drop shows up and tries to find a fight. He'll get a queen. I mean, these medevacs are... the medevacs are obviously just stuck here. There's only so much that can be done right now. Medevacs get picked off. Just going to be seeing Marine picking away at the Ovi. And the Queen here to pick off the Marine as well. So again, that going. Melee upgrades are going to finish up from DRG. As we do have our Mutalisks out down to the bottom right-hand side. +1 flyer attack is on the Spire, and the Mutalisks will dive into the ward of the main. First Widowmine shot is good to clean up a meter at least, but ByuN now finds himself supply blocked, and heavily supply blocked too. 117 over 117, 3 T-Pos just now started. And that slows the production down a lot, and these are macro errors which you just can't really make off the start that you've had. You know, it's tough to make these errors anyway, but to make this, you know, making mistakes like this off the start that you've had here, which has obviously not been a very promising start, it's a little bit tough. Here's that down the bottom side. Ling's gonna get on top of the rocks on the right. Baneling's gonna morph in already. We do have the mutas out down on the bottom. They'll find themselves a Widowmine. And it looks like they'll get themselves another Widowmine on the ramp as well. DRG just controlling the game. He's about to be maxed out, right? So DRG is absolutely in a position here soon. But he should be able to start really going for some fights. Obviously, you want to be careful. You don't want to be too over-aggressive. But there is absolutely a world in which you do want to start trading out. I mean, canceling a few depots here is nice. Mutas get caught, and the Ling Bane's going to try and... He doesn't have Bane speed. Oh my god. Well, that's a big mistake from DRG. And that may be... He realizes it now as well. He's like, why am my Baneling still walking? It's like, when's Bane speed going to... Oh my god, it's not started! Yeah, that's a pretty rough run as we see Ling Muta Bane out on the left. And a few Marines setting up. Extra Bane's coming through. Alright, ByuN is... I mean, the thing is, ByuN's got to play mega defensive, right? ByuN's got to play mega defensive. So while you've got to sit back and play mega defensive, you are not really doing anything on the map, which means that all of this, all the stuff that's usually bad for Terran is going on. You know, bases are coming up, drones are at 98, creep spread is everywhere. This is pretty tough, honestly. I really actually don't know what you do from this, ByuN, because I don't disagree. Like, you've kind of got to sit back, but it's difficult. It needs to land this command center. I don't disagree that sitting back is the right approach. It's just it leaves you in a difficult position, no matter what you do. Yeah, it's difficult. Ben's gonna roll forward, and oh, the Widow Mine is disgusting. Wow. I mean, I guess that's what you do. You sit back and you hope that Widow Mines and so on are your best friends, and that there's maybe a world you can defend and get across the map to counterattack. 13 SCVs down. I mean, that's probably one of the better fights you could look to take, because ByuN is also across the map cleaning out a hatchery. So, man, that first Widow Mine was incredible. That killed so much. You know what? Banelings aren't actually ready just yet. If there was anything to really save from this, it's like maybe these Marines could have done something because there's no Banes ready, but then you see the Ling Meter going to run in on top of this, and that trades pretty well. Going to have to drop back over here just to try and do a little bit more. The army was pretty much forfeit anyway. Banelings pulling back, and we do see extra Banelings all morphing in as well. 3-3 melee upgrades coming through. Adrenal Glands is on the way up as well. Fire going to start pushing forward here, and the Bane's going to do a pretty good job of blowing up this planetary fortress. I mean, that was obviously the goal from the start of this from DRG. Get on top of that planetary, just blow it up, and obviously he doesn't mind trading out the army to basically stop the Terran economy at this point, which is exactly what he's done without a fourth base. ByuN will trundle along far away from the economy he really wants to be at. Marine Marauder Thor continues up to the top side. A few Banelings rolling in. A couple of them getting picked away at. And more Widow Mines lining themselves up as well. As the Thor lifts and continues to move forward. Thor is in a little bit of trouble. The bio spreading out, and Thors are continuing to take quite a bit of damage here. Marines splitting nicely. It's just going to be too much Zerg in the end. Remember, the Zerg can afford to rebuild so much. The meters were down on the bottom, making sure no new fourth base was coming into play. And now there's one drop on the left-hand side, and that's about it. There's just... okay, this gets some drones, but again, the rebuild from DRG. And now on the way to Ultras on the rebuild as well, so it's only improving. As you see, a few Marines going down there. Bio Army still pushing up the right side. And obviously the potential just scan, clean up a whole bunch of creep. Mines are going to be burrowing up there and try to save a couple of them. I mean, ByuN will do anything and everything in his power to try to turn this around, but maybe even as these units go down, he might accept defeat because I don't want to say I'm psychic, but at that point, you really have just lost everything that's potentially going your way, and the BC opening of ByuN just let him down. On the replay pack, do consider subscribing. Obviously, supports the stream as well. But some bonuses for you guys too. Alright, bottom left-hand side, down a map. Let's see what he does to try and get back into this. Our red Terran player is ByuN. Taking on the blue Zerg in the upper right corner from Afrika Freaks. It's DRG. Game 2 of our best of 3. Alright, so... second map of this series. What do we expect? Well, I don't expect to see a battle cruiser ever again from ByuN. That was horrendous. You know what? It wasn't even that bad. It was very close to being all right. You know, if the BC had teleport ready 2 seconds sooner, or if he'd gone back into harass 2 seconds later, he would have gotten out of there. And then the BC's alive, and then it's, yeah, it didn't do damage, but it's kept the Zerg back. You know, 8 will go back and do damage again, something the meters have to think about. That's obviously kind of like where it still starts to go wrong, though, because the BC goes down, and then, you know, even your first drop can be powered up by the BC, because if the BC dives the third base and you drop the natural for, or the main base for something, that's way more powerful because the BC's around, versus as it stood, ByuN showed up with the Marines, and the units were like, cool, well, this is the only thing going on the map, so we can just go and shut that down. No problem at all. Thank you very much. Easy freaking peasy. Obviously, that was not how it played out. It obviously didn't play out well for ByuN. That is how it played out. That's not how ByuN wanted it to play out. And we'll see what he goes into game 2. He's used a lot of aggressive Hellbat openings in TVZ. Some even off 3 bases, and some of them kind of combined with like a lot of bio and a faster stim pack and stuff like that. Zergling's chasing the Reaper as the Reaper goes toward the natural here. So I see the Reaper coming back in. That drone gets bopped to the side, and the drone nearly dies. Ellie gets another one. Felt like that Queen might have blocked the Spore Crawler there. Good attempt from ByuN. He gets a single Zergling for his efforts, and now the Reaper. He thought he might have had the Creep Tumor there, and he might have done if the Queen had put it down already, but the Queen waited to make sure this Reaper was properly pushed away. That means the Creep Tumor goes down without fail. Queen pushes the Reaper back. Unless the Reaper gets pushed back a little bit. Creep Tumor out the front. A couple of Hellions popping out from ByuN, and the starport about to finish in the next few moments. So getting that completed as well. So starport finishes up, as we'll see the medevac just on the way out from ByuN too. A couple extra Hellions on the way. Let's see what he turns this into. Right now, a Hellion drop, but yeah, like I said earlier, Hellbats are something he's liked, and obviously this begins to feel a lot like a Hellbat attack because, well, you're building a couple of Marines, you're building a medevac. Usually if you're building a medevac along with Hellions early, you're going to add an armory as well because it's just the way it goes. You've got the gas for the armory because you're not going super tech heavy off the starport. The medevac heals Hellbats. It's just how it natural comes together. You very rarely see a Hellion drop in TVZ, but there's not an armory and potential Hellbats involved. Hellions will take a move forward as the Marines coming up the top side. Queens are here already, put a bit of damage out onto the initial medevac. I mean, early Overlord kill is not bad either. That does supply block DRG, so he has to wait for an Overlord until he loses some stuff to get anything else. I love the Ling counterattack, though. There is nothing at home, and that wall is not complete. There's a gap still in it. Oh, so the Lings go across the map. They're going to be way more useful over there than over here fighting Hellbats. This is a huge shutdown from DRG, who's now going to start getting all of these SCVs. He's in the main base. ByuN, maybe the only chance there was to raise that depot. That said, the Hellbats are still around. 2 more Hellbats just arrived, but the Spine Crawler is finished, and that's just going to be problematic as well, obviously. A couple of Hellions now popping out. Try and save the day. Sorry, we don't have Game Hard on, but that's 15 SCVs already killed as the Lings now cleaned up. Maybe there's a moment where these Lings could have done a bit more in the main base, but yeah, this was a shutdown and counter damage as well on top of it. Yeah, Pillars of Gold is this annoying map where 4 depots does not cover this wall, so this 4th depot needs a 5th depot at its helm to actually save the day. So when that 5th depot is missing, there's that slight gap that Lings can slip through, and there you have it. It was the right call from DRG, looked for the chance of a counter, found the counter, and that's the big part. Like, actually being able to find that and getting it done is fantastic. Banshee is going to be finishing in a few moments' time. Hellion set up. The Banshee going to be completing reactor. is going to land off to the side. I'm just going to see the couple of barracks going down as well. So continue to build up a bit as drones being picked away at. I mean, if there's a way back in this game for ByuN, it's absolutely got to be behind some extra drone damage. 20 workers down. It's a pretty high count. Alien's cleaning up a good amount of creep spread. I'm going to dive into this top side, gets a couple of drones. The Ling's wanting to dive in on this as well, not quite able to. There's a Spire into the main base, so Spire getting ready. And the melee upgrade still coming into this, and the Queens position themselves nicely to stop those Hellions from achieving much. Now the Banshee has Cloak into the main. I just feel, I mean, there's a Spore and a Queen, and it just feels like that's already a pretty decent shutdown waiting to happen, right? As Queen puts some damage out, Banshee takes some damage. Queen eats up a couple of shots as now another drone gets picked off. We'll see one more drone very nearly picked off too. Yeah, I mean, all of this while the third CC is just morphing into an orbital. It's just such a late third because he just didn't have the minerals to build it sooner. I mean, this is the third base that's almost like an aggressive 2-1-1. You know, this third base would have still been in position more quickly. And obviously, he just really didn't find the damage to be justifying that. Well, this is tough right now, as you do see the Mutalisks continue to build up here. The Baneling Nest will set up on the third. And the Banshee just flies over the right-hand side. Still more Hellions, Marines, everything setting up in the center and starting to move up to the top. Whole bunch of extra meters continue to come back into play as our army sets up from ByuN. If there's a chance, it's with this army somehow finding a fight to win the game. Baneling count is obviously at 0, so I mean, it's not impossible, right? Like, the fact that 0 Banelings is probably the best chance that ByuN has. Let's see, he has systemic game because he didn't engage super quickly initially. There's not enough Marines to fight the Mutalisks. So, I'm not going to say sad or unfortunate, I guess, really, because obviously the, you know, DRG is meant to win this from the start, but yeah, for not having a Baneling Nest for so long, maybe that was ByuN's opportunity, but then there's just so many Mutalisks, it didn't matter. Alright, well, everything still from DRG pushing across, everything going down, Marines, the Slings, everything just fighting, but there's no fighting the Mutas. Like, at this point, if the Mutas get to this high account and you can't control them, you can't control them, right? It's not going to change at any particular moment. Production will be camped, and DRG gets a 2-0 over ByuN. He just never quite got started in this series. Just wasn't able to really, I mean, from the BC going down, it just felt like everything ByuN wanted to do was shut down. He was behind.